Hey guys, I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 77. But before I get into that, I'd like to plug my own website. It's non-MMA related at www.chrismoldong.com. It is my author's website. I am an aspiring author, and I just put a couple new stories, like short story collections for sale. Check out Writers Talk, which is another web series, my blog, and free short stories for sale. So, on to the card. Fun card. Lots of crazy finishes, actually. Vitor got a finish. Glover. Thomas Almeida continues to shine. I like Rashid Magomedov. Tebow just did his thing. Kind of controversial nonetheless. He got the win that he's supposed to. Chess Skelly, you got to win. Jimmy Rivera versus Munoz, really good fight there. So not a bad card. The pacing for FS1 is terrible. Um, I DVR the cards, so it's not so bad for me. But yeah, there's a lot of commercials. My picks were good. I got 11 out of 13. The only ones that I missed are Viscardi Andrade versus Gassan Umalatov and Thiago Tavares versus Clay Guida. As far as bonuses go, no fight of the night, but there were four performance of the night bonuses to Vitor Belfort, Thomas Almeida, Alex Oliveira, and Thiago Tavares. One thing to note as far as picking goes, I would, for the most part, say that this was a favorites. Most of the favorites won, except I think, according to the broadcast, because they show the odds, I believe Andrade and maybe Tavares were underdogs. Jimmy Rivera was an underdog, but otherwise, it's all favorites here. Let's get started. Vitor Belfort defeated Dan Henderson by knockout as head kick and punches 2 minutes and 7 seconds into the first round. Henderson's chin is gone. The guy is in his mid 40s. He's not on TRT, and he's been hit. He's been dropped a lot of times up to this point. Um, it was pretty academic. Outside of the H bomb, and despite Belfort being off TRT, I think it was easy enough to pick Vitor because he's still a very skilled fighter. The TRT really helped him, but it's not like he's unskilled. He can still time shots well. He has a good head kick. He hits really hard. When he sees someone stunned, he swarms in for the kill. He's still Vitor. It's still going to keep him in that top 5, top 10 range. Whereas Henderson, talk of retirement keeps happening with him. With Vitor, I'm looking at the top of the card, and it's like, yeah, you can give him the winner of like Jacare versus Yoel Romero or something like that. But like otherwise, you're gonna have to go with like Machida, who's coming off a loss, or maybe Tim Kendi, who's also coming off a loss actually, or maybe the winner of Hall versus Whitaker, because like the options aren't many. Maybe go with Michael Bisping again, but like as far as like rematches go, it's not highly desirable to watch. With Henderson, at this point, I don't know if they give him a mid-level guy or like he should retire. Honest truth, he has nothing to prove, and he keeps getting knocked out. If not, he's a guy that you kind of have to give someone with something of a name. So unless it goes like some rematch at 205 against like Nogueira or something like that, right? He fought Rogerio, right? Yeah, or something. You can give him like the loser of Hall versus Whitaker, or just someone. Maybe they keep Marquardt. Like he can get the loser of Dalloway Marquardt, but I don't think if Marquardt loses that, um, I think that Marquardt will probably get cut. But otherwise, yeah, it's a really tricky thing with Dan Henderson just because he is a name, but he's also like the guy. He's like a stepping stone at this point, and really, like all you can really rely on with him to win at this point is the H bomb. Next fight after that, Glover Teixeira defeated Patrick Cummins by TKO in the second round. Um, I didn't like Teixeira's takedown defense. It involved like trying to go for a guillotine that just wasn't there. But otherwise, one thing that Teixeira showed was his ability to get back to his feet when he was taken down, and he did that consistently. And then he beat up Cummins on the feet a lot. Cummins is just the type of guy who just cannot take a shot very well. Most fighters, I mean, you don't want to get hit, but some of them take it better than others. Cummins just does not take punches very well. It's a weird thing because Cummins is really good. He's a good wrestler with good ground and pound, good submission defense. However, his stand up just, he's only been fighting in earnest for a very short amount of time, but his chin's not very good. However, the division is so thin that he keeps getting these like higher level competition that he really, unless he's a blue chip prospect, he's not going to beat Glover Teixeira in the amount of time he's been fighting. I mean, he took like long layoffs too. So it's like, oh, if you're taking one fight a year or something, I mean, he's not taking a lot of fights like when he started out his career. But Teixeira, he's still on it. I mean, this guy, his striking's good. His ability to get back to his feet when taken down is good. He's got a good chin too. And he hits hard, and he is good on the ground, and when he's on top, especially. And like I said, on the bottom, ability to get back to his feet when taken down. Biggest problem with Teixeira is he's fought a very good amount of competition that in the division already. And guys like Anthony Rumble Johnson and Bader, they're booked. He's probably not going to get Cormier because Cormier gets Jones. So next option is like Gustafsson. Maybe he can. Another guy coming off a win that's close to his ranking, honestly, is Shogun. I mean, yeah, you can give him Manuel, who just got blasted by like Anthony Rumble Johnson, and Teixeira's already beat OSP. He's already beat OSP, so he's beaten Bader already. But I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. But like I said, Bader's already fighting Anthony Johnson, so I'd say get Teixeira Gustafsson next. If you want to give him something of a name, you can go with Shogun maybe, because at least they're both coming off wins. With Cummins, some guys coming off losses. Manua's one. Heck, Rashad Evans, honestly, versus Cummins at this point. I think Cummins could probably win that. Or he could go lower down the card and fight like your Latifis or Nikita Krylovs or something like that. The problem with Cummins is he's kind of shown that he can beat like the mid-level of the division already. But he kind of needs that seasoning too. So maybe you should just fight those mid-level guys, Maybe give him Corey Anderson. Well, he's not mid-level. Like, I think Corey Anderson's actually just a good prospect. Like a Fabio Maldonado type. Just someone with a lot of experience but is more mid-level or something like that. So that's who Cummins should be fighting. But he's like fighting like some really tough opposition. Next fight after that, Thomas Almeida defeated Anthony Verchek by knockout in the first round. What a highlight reel knockout. Thomas Almeida, he's not the best starter. He's kind of a slow starter, and he does get hit at the very beginning of the fight. Verchek is hyper aggressive. However, he also has defensive flaws because of that aggression. And man, Almeida was really patient, and was that finishing combo and the way he knocked out Verchek just, wow, highlight reel for, that is a knockout right there. Thomas Almeida is much needed for the division. His ability to get back to his feet when he's taken down is pretty good. His takedown defense has been greatly improving, and his stand-up's good. He's primarily a boxer. I don't know if someone with more variety is going to give him problems. He is pretty high output, though. And, yeah, he is just, like, so needed for the division at this point. I mean, they got guys like Aljamain Sterling and a couple other up and comers, but Thomas Almeida really shines. With that said, I think Almeida should get like a Caraway, a Sancho. Some people are saying Almeida versus John Lineker, which would be a lot of fun. You can even go with the winner of Sterling versus Johnny Eduardo for Almeida. With Burchak, he's not a bad fighter. He can be like in the top 15. He beat Joe Soto, knocked him out. Um, I mean, just guys that are more technically like it's not even like a technically sound thing. It's just Tomas Almeida is just really good. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. He's just really good. Anthony Burchak is solid though. I think he can get a good amount of wins. He leaves himself open for a lot of things. I think he should just fight more mid-level guys. I think yeah, give him like Francisco Rivera or something like that. Give him Johnny Eduardo, just guys who's going to stand with him. And Burchak's a fun fighter. I think he can at least touch the top 11 to 15. I don't know if he makes the top 10, but, good fighter. He's solid. He should be able to get some wins in the UFC. Next fight after that, Alex Oliveira defeated Piotr Hallman by knockout in the third round. I mean, Oliveira is such a fun fighter to watch, but the thing is, he's not very technical. He's real athletic, he's strong, and he hits hard. And he's actually has 3 wins in 4 fights in like 2015. The guy fights a lot. He's kind of like Donald Cerrone in the sense where he's going to fight like anyone, anytime, anywhere, and he really does because he fights at 170 and 155 and gets wins at 170 against like low level guys. Um, yeah, the thing with Oliveira though, it's like he's not the greatest wrestler. He goes for a lot of takedowns and he muscles takedowns. And he leaves himself so open sometimes. He'll throw some wild, like when he gets untechnical, he gets real wild. I don't think Hallman can really just do much against this guy though. He's always in his face. His clinch was really good, and he hits really hard. Oliveira needs to step up in competition, and the next step up in competition, in my opinion, probably be like the hulking Brazilian guys, like your T-Bows, your Maso and Dubas, Leandro Silva, Leonardo Santos. And those types. If not, you can give them other prospects, Johnny Case, Kevin Lee, Olivier Abin Mercier. That'd be, those guys would be pretty good for him to fight as well. Lightweight is so deep. I mean, there's just so many guys around that level. So, there's a lot of good matches that you can make for Olivier. Hallman, he's actually on a 3-fight losing streak, and most likely he's going to get cut. He lost by a cut stoppage in his last fight. Now he just got flat out knocked out, highlight reel fashion. I like Piotr Hallman. I think he's a good fighter, but I can really see him just get cut at this point. Next fight after that, Rashid Magomedov defeated Gilbert Burns by unanimous decision. There's a lot to like out of Magomedov here. He has strong counter striking and takedown defense. However, his output isn't very good, and he doesn't have the best finishing instincts. Unfortunately for Gilbert Burns, Gilbert Burns is still a very good prospect. He trains with the Black Zillions. He has a good base in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, this was just a tough stylistic matchup for him at this point of his career. Rashid Magomedov should be fighting like those top 15 guys. I think Magomedov should actually be fighting like the Bobby Greens, Ali Quintos, or maybe even like Dariush. Some really tough matchups at this point. Gilbert Burns is more along the lines of like Alex Oliveira. He beat him, or Johnny Case or something like that. Just good prospect, but not still developing. Like Abin Mercier. He has this really good grappling game, but his stand up still needs a lot of work. So Abin Mercier is actually probably one of the most apt comparisons here because really good ground game, good ability to take fights to the ground, but his stand up is and really strong and big for the weight class. But just I'm talking about Gilbert Burns, but still needs work in that stand up and finding comfort in the stand up department. I still see a bright future for Gilbert Burns, but he hit a roadblock in Rashid Magomedov, who right now has some of the best striking at lightweight and needs a step up in competition. Next fight after that, Corey Anderson defeated Fabio Maldonado by unanimous decision. Kind of a grinder, it was pretty much what I expected. I didn't expect Corey Anderson to keep his back against the cage and get teed off on or anything like that. I expected him to take down Maldonado and stay on top control, and that's what happened. Not a great fight, but it's a good one for Corey Anderson, who took the fight on short notice, puts him even high on the rankings, or it should. And at this point, I really think that Anderson should get a step up in competition. Maybe he can fight a Tom Lawler who's coming off the win over John Vellante. You could give him a Lil Nog or Shogun if you really want to put him up there. He's still a developing prospect though, so I mean you can even give him a Manawa. That's the thing with Corey Anderson. It's still developing prospect. Stand up is still it's good. It's getting real solid now. But he needs to just fine tune on little things there. His wrestling's good. He has good conditioning. So he's a good prospect for the division. Probably one of the better prospects in that division. And I expect him to move up. He hit that setback against John Vellante, got knocked out by him, but it looks like he's really improved his game up to that point. Maldonado maybe get a Jan Blachowicz or something like that. He's still a fun fighter when fighters want to stand with him. I just give him more mid-level guys. Okay, on to the prelims. Gleison Tebow defeated Abel Trujillo by technical submission in the first round. The ref was not correct here. He should have checked to see if Trujillo's arm was limp. I mean, the thing with Trujillo, though, his eyes were closed. He looked like he was just kind of stiff. I mean, yeah, he wasn't out, but man, did he get dominated on the ground? I mean, it was just one of those things where Tebow just got back mount, and whatnot. Tebow's going to Tebow. I mean, he's going to take you down, and if you can't handle that, if you can't get back to her feet, he's going to take you down again, and he has just good enough striking to keep you honest on the feet. I mean, and Tebow's really big for the weight class, and for some reason, the guy you see now is pretty much the guy you see in the UFC when he started, but with very small incremental improvements. His stand-up's a little better. He really knows his game and how to utilize it better. But for the most part, he fights the same way, and it works, and it's worked for a very long time. Despite Tebow being something of a grinder, I've always had a soft spot for the guy because he is an utter blue collar fighter. He goes in there, does his job, wins fights that he's supposed to. He's the ultimate gatekeeper. He beats the Trujillos, but then he'll lose to Tony Ferguson or something like that, And yeah, that's Tebow, and he should just keep doing this. If you want to give him Johnny Case, Kevin Lee, Olivia Ben-Mercier, Alex Oliveira, Rashida Magomedov, go right ahead. I mean, these are the guys that he tests. Abel Trujillo, fun action fighter, just is he coming off a loss? Yeah, and a layoff. So, I don't know if he's going to cut, but he is a fun fighter. So hopefully they just give him, some mid-level guys that maybe he can just knock out or something like that. Next fight after that, Johnny Case defeated Jan Cabral by unanimous decision. Actually, I had Jan Cabral winning this fight. I was actually really surprised that Johnny Case got the unanimous decision here. I mean, Case still he needs to step. Case is weird because he needs to step up in competition, but his skill set is painfully solid. It's like he's a good striker, but he's not a great striker. He's a good wrestler, but not a great wrestler. He's able to defend the submission attempts from Cabral and do really well on the ground against him. But he's just not great at any one aspect of MMA. He's not what I'd call a blue chip prospect. And he has a lot of fights too. It's really hard to really call him a prospect at this point, despite his age. But he does need that step up in competition. Give him more hulking Brazilian fighters. Give him like Massaran Duba or like, Trato, Prazeres or something like that. He kind of needs, because he's on a good win streak. He has generally good fights. He's not like a boring fighter. But I think there's a clear level of guy that Case can beat. He's doing well in the stand up against Cabral, especially at range. He he needs some work on his takedown defense. Case does. Even in the regionals, he had really bad problems with takedown defense. It's gotten better now that he's in the UFC. Um, but he still needs some work there. Solid fighter for sure. Young Cabral, actually, he's pretty solid. He acquitted himself very well against like a pretty much a rising star in a sense in Johnny Case. He has a really good ground game. His stand up needs some work, but he can get wins in the UFC. He's really. I didn't realize how tall he was for a lightweight too. Hulking Brazilian right here. Next fight after that, Thiago Tavares defeated Clay Guida by guillotine choke in the first round. Okay, so Guida just totally dove right into this guillotine. It was such a Guida thing to do, but it was like the wrong guy to do that against. And Thiago Tavares generally has some pretty good first rounds. He starts pretty strong, fades late. So this is like the wrong thing to do at the wrong time of the fight to do it. Thiago Tavares, though, I mean, at featherweight, he's actually pretty good. 2-1 or something like that. Beat like Peralta, um, lost to Ortega, beat Guida. He looks pretty good in this weight class. He looks like that top 15. Probably won't break into the top 10 because the problem with Tavares is he still fades late and his chin isn't that good. But he actually has a pretty workable offensive takedown ability, and he is a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You don't want to give him your neck in any way, shape, or form. And that's what Guida did. What can I say with Guida? I mean, I think he's training out of alpha male at this point. I think he actually hasn't looked too bad, all things considered. He looked good in his last fight. But yeah, there's a clear level of competition he just cannot beat at featherweight, and he's losing a lot more than he's winning. I think he can beat like the lower and mid tier of the division still. There's some mid tier guys he's going to lose to, so you can keep him there. Tavares, though, I think he's a type of guy that I can see is on something of a final run. It's like he's in the new weight class. He's doing a pretty well in the weight class, despite losing to Ortega. He had a fight of the year, in that fight. It's such a fun fight, and you know, he looks like he can beat a good amount of competition at the weight class. Um, yeah, I'd say give him like um, maybe even Kawajiri. Give him some pretty high. Some guys are pretty high up there. If I want to go Chas Scally, that wouldn't be too bad. But I think he should be fighting more like the bottom end of the top 15 or something like that. Next fight after that, Chas Skelly defeated Kevin Souza by rear naked choke in the second round. Skelly is a good fighter, but man, his stand up needs a lot of work. Offensively, he's just not always technical, and his defense sucks in stand up. He also got dropped really bad by Kevin Souza, who just hits real hard. I expected Skelly to win the way he did. He's a type of guy that has good takedowns. And he has quite a squeeze, man. When he takes the back and like goes for that rear naked choke, you can tell this guy has a really good squeeze. I don't think he actually had the choke underneath the chin and still tapped out Souza. Skelly, despite the flaws, is moving up in the division. I mean, the guy's on a win streak. He's actually a pretty good prospect. Um, really good ground game, hyper aggressive. He just needs to work on that technical stand up. He just does not have it. Yeah, he should just get like a step up in competition himself. You know, let him. You know, give him like Elkins. You know what? Good gatekeeper right there, Darren Elkins, right there. Kevin Souza, I think at this point he's just a fun action fighter. Give him just more guys that are going to stand with them at 145. He'll knock out a couple and whatnot. Okay, on to the Fight Pass prelims. Viscardi Andrade defeated Ghassan Umalatov by unanimous decision. Not much to say. I think Umalatov should probably just get cut from the UFC. I mean, the guy he cannot pull the trigger. Andrade, he looks like he's going to be a solid mid-level guy. Honest truth, I'm not really high on the guy. It's just he hits pretty hard. His stand-up's getting better, but it's so untactical. And he does have a good ground game, though. It's more mid to lower level guys of the division for him. Next fight, that Jimmy Rivera defeated Pedro Munoz by split decision. Real back and forth fight, fun fight. Could have been fight of the night, actually. Rivera showed some really good counter striking, and his takedown defense was just on point. I do like what I saw of Munoz. His striking looks to have greatly improved. So has a really good ground game. And Munoz also showed a really good chin, too. I really like what I saw from both these guys. I kind of figured that the fight would be like this, where Munoz would show the improvements, but Jimmy Rivera is just too much of a finished product at this point. Whereas I think Munoz still has a little more improvement to do. And Rivera should really be sniffing that like top 11 to 15 at this point, of bantamweight, right? Yeah. Um, you know, at 135, give him like, hey, let's see how he does against like a Mizugaki. Let's see how he does against 135, man. It's at the maybe even give him like a Francisco Rivera or something like that. I think that'd be kind of fun too. With Munoz, at this point, I think he can beat the mid-level guys consistently, but I'd still like to see him fight them. So just give him more mid-level guys at the division. And finally, Matthias Nikolai defeated Bruno Correa by guillotine in the third round. Correa just has no stand-up defense. I mean, it would not surprise me if he gets cut from the UFC after this fight. There's not much to say about him. Nikolai looks like he has solid boxing, and his ground game doesn't look that bad. I actually see him to be a pretty decent fighter. I think he can really move. I see potential in him for sure. There's not much I can say. I think he just outboxed Correa. Was the harder hitter. Had a scare in the fight. I don't know if that guy like Correa would do that. But eventually, Nikolai got that guillotine choke and got a good win, good first win in the UFC. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 77. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.